And welcome to the Broad Street Hockey Podcast. I am your host, Ryan Gilbert. Joining me, as always, is my co-host, Joe DeMarini. Joe, it's been a while since it's been just us two here. We did something last week with Steve and Jacob. That was a good quad box got going there. But we have the Broad Street Hockey Podcast back now with the trade deadline just less than 72 hours away now.
I know, we're so close. And probably nothing's going to happen because Risto is having a maintenance day, and that doesn't bode well.
Yeah, but yes, I'm coming in hot on that. But before that, of course, make sure you are subscribed to the Broad Street Hockey Podcast. Wherever you get your podcast, also subscribe on YouTube. We're going to be going live a few times this week leading up to the deadline with any rumors, anything that happens. So keep it subscribed there. And of course, shout out to our sponsor at FanDuel. The Flyers are on a little winning streak here, but I don't think their playoff odds have increased too much. To make the playoffs, the Flyers are plus 410. So I believe that's less than a 25% implied probability. But little modest 3-game winning streak now. Got a few easy opponents coming up. We'll see what happens here. But ultimately, it should not really change what they're going to do at the trade deadline. Also, top of the show here. We appreciate all you guys joining us live in the chat. We're going to try to get to the chat questions. Super chats we will answer immediately. But if you guys have any questions, any thoughts, please do let us know there in the chat. All super chats, all subscriptions for Broad Street Hockey go straight to the people you see on your screen, talking to you, writing there. So all goes to the workers pro labor here at Broad Street Hockey. So I'm coming in hot here. Like 3 days before the trade deadline. I know you just played 4 games in 6 days after the Olympic break, all with travel in between them. Not an easy schedule there. But how do you have Rasmus Ristolainen not at least go on the ice for an optional practice? Like, I know maybe this is Ristolainen's fault because he doesn't want to get traded. When he signed the extension here, he said how he's happy he doesn't have to move because no one likes moving. But how, even if he is just taking a maintenance day, why are you, as a coach who worked in media previously, saying, oh yeah, he's a bit banged up? He's a bit banged up. Like, what is that going to do for his value 3 days away the trade deadline? He's looked great. He's been joining the rush. He's been activating. He's been, little wraparound attempt last night in Toronto.
He's had so many wraparound attempts, like one a game since he came back from the Olympics.
Yeah. No, he's been great. And like, the Flyers don't have a ton to replace him. And we have seen a few trades made already. Connor Murphy going to Edmonton. Tyler Myers has been reported to, Detroit, thinking about that one there. I think that's the Tyler Myers, the Brett Kulak, Sam Girard swap for Colorado and Pittsburgh happened last week. But like, Ristolainen surprisingly might be the best right-handed defenseman available on the market.
Oh, defenseman. I was like, Artemi Panarin got traded.
Oh yeah, and you got Robert Thomas, like, who the Sabres are in on now. Apparently, you got Vincent Trocheck is arguably more important than Rasmus Ristolainen. He probably is. Like, you have some big names out there, but on the blue line, Ristolainen is one of the top guys, depending what trade board you look at. And if he's healthy, the Flyers have to move him. The Flyers have to move him.
Yeah, I mean, it does not help having a coach who can't seem to keep his own foot out of his mouth. But I guess that's just that's what we're going to have to live with as Flyers fans for the next couple of years. No, with Risto, he is like the highest end of the physical rough and tumble defenseman available. Justin Fox, very much like an all-rounder. He can provide a little bit of offense. He can provide you some good defense. Dougie Hamilton's not going to play defense for you, but he's going to score a lot of points for you. It's just, what flavor do you want and what do you feel like you need? But they have to do it. And it's not even, if they had won the Capitals game, I might be in a little bit of a different position. But losing that one in regulation, I've pretty much written it off. Like that game was so critical. I don't care that you beat up on the Rangers, who are the worst in the Eastern Conference, in overtime, that you beat the Leafs, who stink. Beating the Bruins was important, but like, I would have rather lost in regulation to the Leafs and beaten the Capitals. It would have been way more useful for their standings position.
I mean, they are trailing. Boston does have the second wild card spot. Like, there are 4 points back of Boston right now. Boston does have a game in hand, so that's something to watch. Yeah, the Flyers, even if they did win that Washington game, I don't think that changes what you do with Ristolainen. I feel like Ristolainen has to be the guy that you move. Because maybe if they lost a few games, maybe they shop Owen Tippett around a little more. But with Ristolainen, I've been thinking about it. Like every deadline so far for Briere. Last year he traded Lawton for a first round pick. The year before that he traded Sean Walker for a first round pick. You have Ristolainen as your one obvious sell piece now to move that can actually bring back something of value. And I'm of the belief that teams have already come to Danny Briere offering a first round pick. And Danny Briere's like, all right, we'll hold that on the table. We'll check back on you on Friday. And worst case scenario, they're getting a late first round pick from a contender for Ristolainen and maybe taking back a bad contract.
It's still, that pick still has a 1 at the beginning. I know when Sean Walker got traded, like the draft pick value chart had it chalked as a second round pick because they took on the Johansson contract. And I'm like, it still has a 1 at the beginning, and that matters to other teams. And it mattered when they traded up to get Nesbitt. I don't think they would have done it for a second round pick. It needed 2 firsts.
Yeah, and the first round pick, it's on Friday night. Everyone's around for it. Everyone's excited about it. Like a first round pick 32 even has more like it's visually better than pick 33, like by a decent bit, because you're getting it Friday night, then you go into the next day, like you know what it is. Like, so yeah, I think a first round pick is probably out there for Ristolainen. Sure. I don't know if the Flyers are definitely going to take just a first round pick. That is what I am worried about. I've gone back and forth on what you should take for Ristolainen because he's not easily replaceable on the blue line there, but like teams have been checking in on him. The Sabres checking in, Canadians, the Stars seem like a potential fit with their Finnish guys, but they don't want anyone. Ducks. But they don't want anyone with term. The Ducks, I mean Detroit maybe if they don't get Tyler Myers. Maybe Edmonton still does add another defenseman and takes Ristolainen. Like there's a lot of teams out there that want Risto, and he's healthy. Like, I'm not trading him for a second. I said that back in January. I would just move him for whatever. But I think if you get a first for him, you kind of have to take it because then you can use that first to either draft, trade up, or trade it for a center.
So much of the reporting around this deadline is that it's a buyer's market, which does not work in the Flyers' favor. Like the teams that are shopping for rentals and deadline ads, there's a lot of players on the market with similar ceilings, I guess. There's similar, like they'll have a similar impact on the roster once they join their new team. And that doesn't tend to juice the value of a Rasmus Ristolainen. The other thing that we've seen from Briere is that he will not trade a player until his price is met. Sean Walker's price was a first round pick. I want that first rounder. We'll make it work some other way. And they took on the Johansson contract to get the first. Yep. With Lawton, they held out. He waited another year. He got a first in Nikita Grabenkin. If they don't trade Risto this year and they come out and say our price wasn't met, we didn't want to move him for less than we had set his value at, I'm inclined to believe them. I'm not going to, if they say, look, the market wasn't there, we weren't getting the return that we wanted, we decided we're not going to trade him right now. Mm-hmm. And I get it. I would understand that. I would get it. But the injury risk that Ristolainen poses to this team is like, do you take the risk that he'll be healthy this summer or next deadline and you will get your ask, or do you risk him getting injured again and selling him, not being able to sell him at all?
Yeah, you have to hold tight on your ask. Like it's not a JVR situation. It's not a pending free agent where you're clearly out of it and you got to move them for whatever you can get it. Like if they beat Utah Thursday and Boston plays Pittsburgh tonight, they play Nashville Thursday. Like if Boston loses both of those games and the Flyers beat Utah on Thursday, I could see Briere being like, all right, Konechny said like Konechny's frustrated. He wants to win, that he wants us to add. Let's keep Risto as our own rental. We're getting Martone later this season, hopefully.
He's not even a rental. He's not even a rental.
No, exactly.
He's keeping him another year.
No, and we've talked about this for months now. It's like maybe the offseason is the best time to trade Ristolainen because then you have everybody, they're going to another cap situation, more
Yep.
roster flexibility. They're not going to worry about messing up the chemistry in the room, on the ice, whatever. But also, like, you get 2 chances at the playoffs with Risto. And the East is wide open. Like, it's the Lightning head and shoulders above everybody else. And then the West, you got Colorado, you got Dallas, you got Minnesota. They're all battling for it. Anaheim's leading the Pacific now. Vegas is in second. Edmonton's on the cusp of the playoffs. Like there's a arms race in the West. And the East, I don't know if the Flyers would trade Risto to a metropolitan team, but like if you catch the Lightning on a bad week or two, the East is wide open for anybody if the Lightning shit the bed. Like so
Yeah.
teams need to go for it. And like teams like Dallas, yeah, they don't want term because they have to figure out what to do with Robertson, but there's only so many cracks at the cup these teams are going to get. And if you can have Rasmus Ristolainen instead of Ilya Lyubushkin on your second or third pair, maybe that's something you do.
I think there's also there's merit to waiting for later in the week. Today's Tuesday, the deadline's coming up on Friday. If you pull the trigger on Risto now because your ask has been met, that's cool. But if it's Friday, 2:45 p.m. and nothing is left on the market and a team is like, we got to add something or we're gonna get raked over the coals, or we missed out on other players that we wanted, we got to do something. GMs get desperate and make stupid moves. So, maybe Risto is banged up today, but the Flyers play again on Thursday.
Yeah. They're off tomorrow still, yeah.
Oh, they've got a couple of days off.
Yeah.
Maybe you run Risto out, he plays well again, and then Friday morning GMs are like, well, we missed out on Justin Falk, we missed out on Dougie Hamilton, Luke Shen is a non-factor, so they come calling and say, Danny, we'll take Risto, and Danny's like, price gone up because I know there's nobody else available.
Yeah. So like you're not going to see many trades early on unless teams are trying to get ahead of it. Like it's just every year it's like, all right, well, something's going to happen this week. No, it goes till Friday, or it ends up just nothing being traded and nothing exciting happening. But yeah, you mentioned the other defenseman out there. I think Risto is kind of a much better version of Luke Shen. Luke Shen is obviously cheaper, is more just third pair ceiling kind of number 7 guy. He has the experience. Dougie Hamilton can help on the power play a bit more than Risto can. Same with Justin Falk. They're both a bit more offensive there. But yeah, Ristolainen, that Olympic performance was great. He had a few great shifts since returning there. So
his cap hit's more reasonable than Hamilton and Falk as well. Like Falk is 6.5 through next season and has a partial NTC. Dougie Hamilton has a 10-team trade list. I think he is like, these are the 10 teams I will go to. And his contract runs for 2 more seasons at $9 million. The Devils aren't going to retain on that deal. Yeah. They are trying to add. And then with Falk, sure, the Blues could retain, but you've still got a defenseman who has trade protections on their contract. Like there's advantages to getting Risto. He's a little cheaper, no trade protections, and a different style of player, different flavor.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about it. His contract has gone from a liability to an asset with the cap rising there. Like, 5.1 million for a second pair guy. Like it's a fair deal. 1 more year on it. Only 31. Like he's still gonna have that value next season as long as he's healthy. Like that's always the big question mark with Risto. And he's healthy. He's playing well. I think the Flyers have to capitalize on that with the first round pick. I would like to see a roster player back with it. Ideally, a defenseman that can play third pair instead of Noah Juleson. You go York, Sanheim, Drysdale, Andre, and then Sealer, whoever they bring in. But we'll see what happens there. Nick Sealer also left last night's game, third period. Did not practice. He's a game time decision. Travis Konechny missed Monday's game. He's also a game time decision. So like if those guys, if Konechny's out for a few more games, like there's almost no point in not just selling everything.
Well, I will say credit to the Flyers. They were missing their best offensive producer against the Leafs, and they still got it done.
Yeah.
That's not nothing. I just go back to in the first couple months of the season when TK and Michkov were not playing well, right? Like TK couldn't score, Michkov was sluggish and not creating, but the team kept winning. And we said, imagine this team if they were playing this well, and then Michkov and Konechny also figured it out.
Mm-hmm.
January happened, nobody figured it out. But maybe down the stretch, everyone's going to be on the same page and is able to click through it. I don't think trading Risto nukes your playoff chances any more than like keeping him. I think it's basically a wash.
Yeah, it honestly comes down to goaltending. I was thinking about it like that long losing streak they had. If Dan Vladar was healthy during that streak, they probably get a win. They probably beat the Rangers where Kolosov had to start. They probably maybe get a point somewhere else, and that's the difference. Like if they win 2 games instead of losing 2 games, they're tied for a playoff spot right now. So it comes down to Vladar. He's been amazing since coming back from the Olympics, stealing a few points there, and probably each of the wins that he had. And like we're saying, the Flyers have to trade Risto, but I'm not going to be overly angry, I don't think, if they don't, because you still got the off season. You don't really have anyone to replace him right now in the on the blue line, so he wants to be here. Like if it's just the health is a huge question mark that you can't rely on. And Joe is frozen. Risto there. Also on the blue line, Nick Seeler is hurt right now. I would love to see him move. Teams might have some value him a little bit. Emil Andre could be another guy the Flyers look to move. He seems to be the odd man out. But yeah, Risto is the clear number one guy that the Flyers should be looking to move.
Yeah. Also, I just looked it up. When Risto was injured in the 31 games, the Flyers were 16, 9, and 6. And then when he came back on, hold on, Hockey Reference is acting up on me. He came back on December 16th. That was his first game back in the lineup. And since then, the Flyers have gone in 29 games, 12, 12, and 5. So they were a better team without him even in the lineup, which means like, hey, if you trade him, Noah Juulsen isn't anybody's idea of like a great defenseman, but like Flyers seem to do all right to get by just fine without Risto.
No, I can't deal watching more. Yeah, the Flyers right now are through 60 games. So if we break the season down into 20 game chunks, after 20 games, they were 11, 6, and 3. That was the home win against the Devils before going on the road there around Thanksgiving. And then game 40 was the 5-2 win at Edmonton right before the win against the Ducks, before it all went to hell there with a 6-game losing streak. And now game 60, they're 28, 21, and 11, kind of back on track with Dan Vladar here. Got some winnable games coming up. Like this is there's still a quarter of the season left. Like this isn't completely a team that should be written off, but yeah, it does depend at the trade deadline. Also got to bring up Flyers making the big trade for Boris Tkachuk there. I wonder if some people thought, well, that was one of the Tkachuk brothers the Flyers traded for. But shout out Maddie Campbell. She wrote something good on BroadStreetHockey.com on what he should bring to the Flyers. He's 27, former second round pick, so has a lot of experience in the AHL and NHL. Should help the Phantoms out for their stretch run, and could be called up for some size if the Flyers need it.
I mean, if they trade like Carl Grunstrom or they trade, Garnet Hathaway or Nick Delorier or something. Another thing, we were talking about this throughout the season, that because the East was so close, we weren't going to know who was a contender and who was a pretender until much later, because nobody was willing to sell in the middle of the season and nobody was buying because they weren't sure if their team was for real or not. Now we're coming up to the trade deadline. Some of these teams might be selling and they're going to fall off, like the Blue Jackets, maybe the Senators, maybe, a couple of other teams in front of the Flyers in the standings. They might sell off. And that would open up a window for the Flyers to take advantage.
Yeah. And I know it's just continued purgatory, and and fans, like even optimistic fans, want them to lose games and get a better draft pick at this point. I want playoff hockey. I want fun hockey. I want competitive games into spring and into April. There, that's all I want. I don't want another last month and a half of the season just seeing what happens there. But yeah, we mentioned Matvei Michkov a little bit before. He's looked great since coming back from the Olympics. Obviously, the goals are good. The shootout goal against Anthony Stolarz was great there as well. But like he just looks better. He looks more confident. He looks up on his skates. He's not like all hunched over skating around. He's up on his skates. He's calling for pucks. He looks a lot better, a lot more confident, and has earned some overtime shifts there. Despite maybe didn't make the best decisions in overtime there with a few of those plays, but he earned Taka's trust after the overtime winner. So yeah, Michkov is looking better. Still on the third line. Noah Cates had a good game on Monday night, but hopefully, if Michkov gets going, Zegras is still going here. If they get Konechny back, they keep Tippett. Like this is a team that in a bad East, like they have a good week and they're right back in it.
I think it was notable in the game last night that he had those turnovers in overtime, but who gets the first go in the shootout? Matvei Michkov. I don't know if that was because usually it's Zegras. I think all season Zegras has been the first one out. Maybe Coots or TK got one once because Couturier has that weird I'm going to turn my back to you and then spin it around and put it in the net trick. But it's usually Zegras first and then Michkov or TK. So to send him out first, even after those turnovers, it to me on the outside, it's like, kid, you screwed that up. But guess what? We're here. Go out and do the thing that I know you can do. And
yeah,
he did it.
Yeah, I like him going first too because, like, all right, go out there, do your thing. Don't worry about what Zegras just did. If he scored or didn't score, go out, make your move, and then we have Zegras right after you. We can go up 2-0 if you score, and that's what happened.
And Zegras ripped that. That shot was so fun. Just
that was amazing.
A laser.
Yeah. So Risto is the obvious piece that the Flyers have to sell, but who do you think is the second most likely to be moved? Is it Tippett? Is it Hathaway? Nick Delorier popped up on a trade board. Is it someone we're not even considering?
How spicy? How spicy do we
want to get? I mean, don't have to do too big of a stretch. I'm kind of asking a serious question, but like, who do you think is the second most likely player behind Risto to get moved?
Oh boy. I mean, Tippett's name has been out there the most, so I guess that would be number 2. But if we're getting spicy with it, Jamie Drysdale, since he's a pending RFA, although I have felt so vindicated watching him play the last week or so. I'm like, Flyers fans, they've seen him. They saw his first few games in Philadelphia, and he was a disaster. He was a mess. And it's like, well, he's never going to be anything more than maybe like a 4 or 5 power play specialist. And then,
honestly, that's probably what he is. That is what he is.
I still think there's more because all he has done since arriving is just like incrementally improve bit by bit by bit. His game has come around. I think there's still more there. But pending anyone who doesn't have a contract already signed for next year, they could be on the block. But Drysdale, maybe Brink. I don't know if Brink alone is enough to be worth trading, but maybe Risto and Brink inflates your return to what you want. Some combo of a package instead of just Risto for X, Y, and Z.
Drysdale is an interesting name. I think I saw one guy say like the Senators checked in on him or something, but like you said, the Senators are probably going to be the Senators. Yeah, the Senators are probably going to be selling anyway.
Why? Hold up. Jordan Spence cannot get minutes for the Ottawa Senators, and they're checking in on Jamie Drysdale, who's probably a worse Jordan Spence. Like that is the goofiest thing I would have ever imagined happening. And if the Flyers are trying to acquire, they should go after Jordan Spence because the Senators traded for that guy and then never play him.
Bruce Garrioch or whatever name from the Ottawa Citizen said another name that could be on the radar screen for teams looking for a right shot blue liner is Jamie Drysdale of the Flyers. Like, I don't think he has a good track record. He's not connecting them to Ottawa, but that's why I thought it was Ottawa. I think Tippett has to be the second one. Like, I think Risto is probably around 50-50, if not higher than 50-50 to be traded. I think Tippett, it's down from that, maybe like 25%, maybe a third, maybe 33%, because he does have a team-friendly contract. He's been in these rumors. Boston checked in on him. I like Matthew Patra up there in Boston.
Sure.
Seattle can maybe use him. Shane Wright as the part of a package for Owen Tippett. Maybe Minnesota if they're looking for a scoring winger and want to not get that brink thing there. But Tippett is interesting because like Tippett wouldn't be necessarily selling. Like you're gonna get back probably a center. Like that is what I would trade Tippett for. Is trade Tippett for a younger center and another pick.
Would you? I don't think this would work out because it doesn't fit with what the Wild need. Jesper Wallstedt is apparently available for the right price from the Wild.
Yeah.
Would you consider trading Tippett and the main return as a young stud netminder, like a Wallstedt? Because then you can keep Vladar for another 2 or 3 years. Zavrag and Bjarnason have time to develop, and you have Wallstedt there to step up as well. Like, would you consider a high-end young goalie instead of a center or defenseman?
Absolutely. I mean, you read my mind. I was going to bring up Wallstedt from Minnesota. Like they have Gustafsson. They have a good tandem there. But if you can get Wallstedt, I don't know if they would trade him for Tippett. I don't know what type of return they'd be looking for Wallstedt. But yeah, Wallstedt. Trocheck,
probably.
Like that. 23 years old, turns 24 in November. 911 save percentage in 25 NHL games this season. He's been great for Minnesota. He had that stretch of shutouts earlier this season. Yeah, I think you get him, like you said, pair him with Vladar, then you let Vladar walk in a few years, then you go Wallstedt and either Bjarnason or Zavragin, and you have a few young goalies that hopefully one of them pans out to at least be a 1A, if not a starter. Like I would easily trade for Wallstedt, or like Minnesota has the Russian center that I want. I don't think they're going to trade Yurov though. Like he played with Grabenkin in the KHL. Like having him and Michkov together would be great, but I don't see them moving him unless it's for like a Trocheck or a legit 1 or 2C. But the Wild are an interesting team because the Flyers have had talks with them about Matt Boldy before. Apparently, Bobby Brink and Ryan Hartman have been rumored as well. Ryan Hartman, I wouldn't mind taking back $4 million for another year. They're looking to shed some cap, so maybe you get him on the cheap. But like he's just another Dvorak, just another Cates, just another Couturier. Like he's a good two-way guy, which is fine. Like if you can get another solid two-way center and you can improve your wingers, that's fine by me.
Bring him home. I think also the Wild were in on Gauthier when talks were happening. I don't know if it ever came out what was offered for Gauthier, but I do remember seeing reports that they were one of the teams that was interested. So I like a trade between the Flyers and the Wild is not out of the realm of possibility, right? Like they seem like teams that are willing to talk to each other.
Yeah, the Bruins that we mentioned have been in on Tippett, the Wild, and then there was another one I just saw, the Sabres. I could see Owen Tippett in Buffalo there. I was tossing around the idea of trading for Josh Norris, but he's injured a lot. $7.9 million until 2030. He's playing 3C in Buffalo, so maybe he's a guy with. I think he has 1C upside if he stays healthy, but I don't know if I would trade Tippett in the package for him. Maybe I don't know. I don't think you can get him for Risto, but like,
I mean, if you could,
he's too hurt. He's too injury prone. I don't know if that would be necessarily a good move, but like Buffalo
we had this discussion at last trade deadline. I think we talked about Josh Norris out of Ottawa,
probably,
or maybe it was Dylan Cousins. I think we were looking at both of them and we're like,
probably
the Flyers traded for one of them, and then they swapped them for each other. If the Flyers do trade Risto to Buffalo, which would just be the funniest possibility, if Isaac Rosen is the return, I am going to lose it because Isaac Rosen is the player that the Sabres drafted, the Flyers' first round pick that they traded for Rasmus Ristolainen. So it would basically be undoing that trade in one fell swoop, which would what could be funnier than that, man?
That would be close and close. He's a winger though, I think, right? Yeah,
He is.
He's a winger, so that
He's
wouldn't
not
necessarily
that
work.
good. I don't think he's that good, but
No, he's
whatever.
It would be fun. It would be funny if he was a part of the
It would
return
be
there.
funny.
But yeah, I feel like Tippett fills the hole that JJ Peterka left. Like they made a good trade. They got Josh Doan. He's been good. Kesselring has been good as well. But like Peterka was a legit top 6 winger. I don't know if Doan is that quite yet. So if they want Tippett, if they want to give us, Bowen Byram, Owen Power, Matthias Samuelson is playing top pair of minutes. I don't know if you can get him anymore, bring him home possibly, but like the Sabres have some pieces that would be interesting for the Flyers. I don't know if Ryan McLeod is a guy I would want, but he's a youngish center that could maybe fit, but he's just another middle 6 center that, you don't necessarily pine after and you wouldn't be excited about.
He's a younger Christian Dvorak.
Yeah, pretty much.
Basically what he is.
Yeah, if you didn't extend Dvorak, McLeod has 42 points in 60 games this year, 53 points in 79 games the year before last year. So not a good target there, but Tippett, I don't know if they're going to trade him. I don't think they're going to trade him at the deadline. Would you do Owen Tippett for Shane Wright as the main parts of a package?
I don't think so. I don't think I would. I mean, if Matty Beniers, we've talked about this. If Matty Beniers was on the table, I'd probably start moving quite a few assets to make that happen. But I don't think I'm as high on Shane Wright.
No, Shane Wright hasn't quite been what he was projected to be last year. 44 points this year. 23 points, which projects out to 31 points there. I know he's not playing with great wingers, but like Shane Wright, he's just a name that's out there that is a good young center that might, change the scenery, help the Flyers. I think that's more of like a Brink type of return.
I don't think Brink would get you a 4th overall pick.
Brink
4 years
plus,
ago.
Brink plus, yeah.
I do think it's noteworthy. If I'm remembering correctly, Shane Wright's development kind of went the same way as Jet Luchenko's, where they kept him on the team because they could only send him back to the CHL, but he'd already dominated there, but he was too young to go to the AHL. So they kept him around for a while, and then he got sent back, and then he was good, and then got yo-yoed all over the place. So
yep, he did. Yeah, 2022-23, 8 games with Seattle, 8 games with Coachella, 20 games with Windsor, and 7 games at the World Juniors. So pretty much just like Luchenko, getting yo-yoed back and forth, and that hasn't fared well for Shane Wright so far.
No. So, if the price is right, I'd get Shane Wright, but I'm not going to give up Tippett for that. Tippett's too valuable. I don't think Flyers fans appreciate how good Tippett is. He's our Jordan Kyrou. Like, he's a Flyers fan's Jordan Kyrou, where it's like, we would love to be complaining about Jordan Kyrou if he was on our team, but we're stuck with this Owen Tippett guy. And I feel like a lot of other fans on other teams would be like, man, I wish we were able to complain about having Owen Tippett, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't know. Owen Tippett has those games where like, oh wow, Owen Tippett, what a great player. He can change the game. He can win a few games for you. Then he has stretches like he has right now. He has 1 goal in his past 10 games since that hat trick at Colorado.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
That goal was against Washington, the opening goal. I forget what that one looked like, but first goal against Washington there. That was before the break, the home game against Washington. The nice passing play that got him in front and went to the backhand there. But yeah, he only has 1 goal and 2 assists since that 4-point game against Colorado. Which that's what Owen Tippett is like. And I don't want to trade Owen Tippett somewhere where he's going to go and pop off. Like Colorado, he'd fit well in that offense. I think Minnesota, he would fit in there too. But if you're dealing him, or Boston, I would hate to see him go to Boston and help Boston, win their next cup somehow. But like Seattle's fine.
Whatever.
What's going to happen there? I still don't think Minnesota is like really going to win the cup. Like I don't think they're a legit contender. But like
really,
Buffalo, I don't think Buffalo's a legit contender. Like,
why are you so low on Minnesota?
it's just the vibes the Wild give off to me. They're
Oh.
they're expansive franchise. They haven't won it before. I don't know if they've even made the Stanley Cup final before. They're just kind of one of the, like, they're a good regular season team. They're a good team. I like them, but and they're I mean, maybe Quinn Hughes, Kaprizov, Matt Boldy, maybe they can finally get there. But
the Minnesota Mild is what they
yes,
are.
Yes, they are.
The Minnesota Mild.
Yes, absolutely. Speaking of Minnesota, like, because I think Minnesota could be an interesting trade partner for the Flyers. I was thinking,
Okay.
like, Noah Cates is from Minnesota, Bobby Brink from Minnesota. Like, Noah Cates is a guy that I could see the Flyers moving and selling high on. I think I brought this up last week with you, Steve, and Jacob. Like, he's a great two-way center, great shutdown center, can play third line. You need a third line in the playoffs. His cap hit is what, $4 million for the next
3 more.
3 years after this one. You have Dvorak now. You have Couturier. He's going to be a bottom 6 center. You're going to want to bring in a top 6 center. Like, do you need Dvorak, Couturier, and Cates? And Cates is 27. He is what he is. He's never going to be a great offensive guy. Like, you trade Cates and Brink to Minnesota together for like a Hartman and a young guy to help out with some cap space a little bit. But like, Hartman's not the main return. The young guy is the main return. Either you're off, or if you can somehow get Wallstead in that package, if you include Tippett or something like. But Minnesota's cap space does not make that too reasonable at the time, right now.
No. Nah, I don't think. I feel like we've had this discussion before. Other teams don't view Cates as highly as we do. Like, I feel like the league doesn't really recognize him in the way that we do. Also, he sucks at faceoffs. He's almost as bad as Zegras.
Yeah, he's not good. He's not good at faceoffs. That is a problem.
If you're going to be a two-way center, you kind of need to be good at faceoffs, and he just, for some reason, doesn't. I don't get it. His game seems he's so detailed. You would think he would be good at faceoffs, but I just can't get it. It's weird. It's on that. They'll probably do an episode of Unexplained Mysteries or whatever that TV show on Sci-Fi was from back in the day.
Yeah. So Cates probably not going to. I think I want the Flyers to trade Hathaway. I want the Flyers to move Hathaway to a team that needs a veteran presence. Get like a 3rd round pick. Maybe get a similar player that can play center, that's younger, that is kind of like the odd man out there. But I think Hathaway needs a change of scenery too for himself to get going again.
I don't think anyone's trading for Garnet Hathaway. I don't care about.
You don't think so?
I would be shocked, especially with that contract. Look, the Flyers are in a bit of a weird jam at this deadline because they only have one retention slot. It's the last year of retention for the Hayes contract and the Lawton deal. So if they're going to trade one of Hathaway or Risto, I feel like both of those would require retention. You can't do both. You got to pick one. Like, if you could retain on Hathaway 50%, get a third round pick, would you rather do that, or would you rather retain on Risto and get better assets?
I think I'd rather trade Hathaway and get a similar, possibly slightly worse contract back that can help fill out the roster on the back end. Trade Risto for whatever, and then trade Hathaway for like a 3rd pair defenseman with a bad contract. Something like that. If Briere can maneuver that in these next 3 days.
Okay. All right. So not retaining on Hathaway, just contract swap and an asset, like a late.
Yeah. Like, you have one retention slot. There's no need to waste it on $2.4 million. Like, if you want to retain a little bit on Ristolainen, maybe. But what do they have? Yeah, because next year they have no retained salary slots. They have nothing.
It's just right now. It's just this deadline where it's a little tight. But next year they'd be fine.
Yeah. So if you want to retain on Risto, that would be probably better because that would be more beneficial. Next year you don't need a ton of cap space anyway, and that would probably increase the return a decent bit for some of these top teams that are having a cap crunch.
And to be fair, like 2.55, I suppose, would be the 50% retention. That's like nothing next year for the Flyers. That's That's chump change. If that's what it takes to get you a first round pick and a good prospect, done.
Yeah, easily done there. Let's get moving down here. Nick Delorier, somehow he was on Nick Kyprios's trade board the day the Flyers were in Toronto, though, where Kyprios, I believe, is based. So perhaps something was he got some insight there that some team might want Delorier. Like, if you can move Delorier, you have to do it. Like, you just
he had a great scoring chance in that Leafs game too. I was like, man, that could have been his final career goal if he'd put that one in. He knew, I think, like, you're in the center of the hockey media world in Toronto. And if you have a good game there, people notice. So maybe that'll help him out.
Yeah. Speaking of people being up in Toronto, the Sabres had 4 scouts, including one of their head honchos, I believe, up there in Toronto. Chris Johnson tweeted it out. He was like, "Oh, it's not a big deal. It's an easy drive from Buffalo to Toronto. Like, it's like a 2-hour drive. I think I heard. It's like, that's pretty much, you can go from Philly to Rangers, Devils, Islanders, Pittsburgh, kind of, DC. Caps. Yeah, like there's like Boston.
Pittsburgh,
you hop on.
But Pittsburgh's a 5-hour drive.
Pittsburgh is far. Boston, you hop on the Amtrak up to Boston. Like, it's quick. So, like, I think there is a point of reading into that. Like, maybe there are going to be Risto talks or Tippett talks with Buffalo.
Nah, it'll be Scott Lawton. Congratulations, Scott. You're a Sabre now.
Maybe he'll fix Buffalo. Maybe Well, Wayne Simmons also played in Buffalo for a bit. I don't know if that was before or after Toronto. I think it was before Toronto. I think it was 2020, I think, was the deadline where the Sabres got Wayne Simmons there.
How'd that work out for them?
He bounced around a little bit. Probably not good. Probably not well. It was the Sabres. But you think there'd be anyone like really surprising that would be? I guess we can discuss Brink a little bit. Like, do you think he's more likely or less likely to be moved than Tippett?
Jesus, I don't know, man. Like, I'd say less, but I think if you want to get left field, I think the biggest change would be trading like Cam York or something. Mm-hmm. But I like the chances of that happening are pretty, I would imagine, pretty minute, right? He's in the first year of his 5-year contract. If something crazy like that were to happen, the Flyers must have gotten like Austin Matthews to waive his no trade clause or something. Like, it'd be an enormous deal.
Could happen. Yeah. Ryan Quigley ranked the trade possibilities for every player on the Flyers roster earlier today at BrowserHockey.com. He had Bobby Brink, Carl Grunstrom, Noah Juleson, and Owen Tippett in the slight possibility behind strong possibility of Rasmus Ristolainen. Kevin Kurtz also wrote for the Athletics bold predictions thing that the Flyers would trade Bobby Brink, and trading Bobby Brink would follow what the Flyers have done. Like, he hasn't been in rumors at all, been very tight-lipped, nothing around Bobby Brink. Like, I could see them pulling off a Brink for Hartman type swap. Apparently that was floated earlier in the season. Maybe you get back something else to sweeten that deal a little bit, but I don't know. I think Brink, I don't know how teams value him. I don't know where he fits in the future either.
I mean, the Panthers look like they're going to miss the playoffs. Yeah. But I do think a lot of teams are still Florida brained. Like, they still see like a big mean Florida team and they're like, Bobby Brink, really? This little guy's going to come in and make us a playoff contender? But if you've been paying attention, he's become quite the checker. He has become really quite good on the forecheck. He's not going to blow dudes up with hits because he's 5'8", 5'9", but he gets in there. He gets his stick in there. He's battling for pucks. Like, it's playoff style hockey, but it doesn't look like it because he's not 6'3" and just towering over guys on the boards. So I don't know. He's got the right play style, but I don't know if GMs can get past the height.
Yeah, and I think Brink might be a case of we overvalue him compared to teams around the league too. Like he's never going to be a 50-point guy, maybe even never like a 40-point guy might be his ceiling, but a good two-way play, has good playmaker. Maybe he can get there with some more offensive line mates He is only 24, 25 over the summer. Had 41 points last year, so he's got there before. Already has a career high 13 goals this season. So I think he's still on the up and up. Still gonna peak around 45, 50 points, but he's not a center. And the Flyers have a ton of wings, especially right wings. Like you trade Brink or you trade Tippett, you can move Michkov back over to the right. You have Martone can play left. You have Forster can play left. You have Tippett. You have Konechny on the right. Like you have your wingers kind of set. And you got Brink, you got Barkey, you got Bump, you got all these other guys. Like they have to be moved at some point. I just don't know if the deadline is when to do it.
It doesn't feel. Again, we said it at the top. This is being reported as a buyer's market. You're not going to sell your players that are valuable to you now at a discount just because you feel like you have to. Especially a team in the Flyers position. They aren't pressed. They aren't in panic mode. There's no reason to just start trading dudes because you have to. Like maybe someone in the summer is like, yeah, Bobby Brink would be a nice addition, and they managed to pull it off then. But it doesn't feel like this deadline is going to have a roster shaking trade beyond maybe Risto.
Yeah, but like I do, not to be like I'll just do something, but like I do think Danny Briere does need to do something at this deadline, whether it's trading Risto, whether it's making a hockey trade with Tippett or with Brink. I've been saying it.
Do you want him to do that if it's a clear loss?
Well, no,
like
I don't want to lose a trade, but like I think if there's a risk, if we're looking back in 2 or 3 years and saying, "Oh man, that was a bad trade," that's fine. You have to take risks at times. You got to swing. Not every trade can be a hit, but like you can't risk too much. Like I feel like Tippett for Shane Wright is kind of as far as I would go for like a risky trade, something like that, where you're giving up Owen Tippett, a guy that can score 30 goals, can score easily 25 in a down year, for a former top pick who hasn't quite reached that potential, and you don't know how he's going to fit in. But like that's a risk you might have to take if you're not going to be able to get a first line center down the road. I
meant more like if the only deal available for Risto is a second round pick with 50% retention. Would you rather them just not do that? Like I'm saying, would you rather them just come out and say the deals didn't materialize? Nobody met our ask. The value wasn't there. We didn't think it was appropriate to make these trades. Would you rather them come out and say that after doing nothing, or make a trade where you're like, that was sloppy. Like you caved to the other GMs because you felt like you felt compelled to trade Ristolainen, so you did, and caved on your ask.
Yeah, no, I would not be happy if they only get a second for Risto. Maybe if it's a bad team, it's a high second. If it's someone else's second, whatever, a second and a prospect, maybe. But like, I think you have to get a first for him. And if the main reasoning, if the narrative is the ask wasn't there, that's fine. If the narrative is more, we have points in 4 straight now. We think we can have a chance to make the playoffs. We want to keep Risto on this team. Risto didn't want to be traded, so we wanted to have a crack at the playoffs with him. If that is the main narrative, then I'll be upset. If the narrative is, Luke Stein got traded, Hamilton got traded, Falk got traded, there were no landing spots, there was no one giving up a first round pick, like that's fine. But if it's more focused on trying to win this season, I think that's going to be a misstep, and that's going to be very bad for the fans.
I would agree. I guess the messaging is going to determine it. But like we said at the top, if I just completely lost my train of thought. It's been a long day.
Well, I mean, if they beat Utah and Boston loses one of these next 2 games, like they're right back in it.
Yeah,
they're right back in it.
And I remember what I was going to say. The Flyers front office has a track record of saying, "Here's our ask. We won't move. We won't budge on it." And other teams have stepped up and met the ask. So if the Flyers do come out and say, "Yeah, nobody was giving up what we thought Risto was worth," like last year, they said nobody stepped up and was willing to offer what we thought Ristolainen was worth, especially after Brandon Carlo went for that package from the Leafs.
Yeah.
I'm inclined to believe the Flyers when they say, yeah, people weren't lining up down the block to give away premium assets for Rasmus Ristolainen. So,
yeah. Yeah, I do think Matthew Poitras, whatever you pronounce that, from
Poitras.
Boston, could be an interesting guy to look at for the Flyers. He's playing primarily in the AHL this year. He has 31 points in 49 games, had 41 points in 40 games last year in the AHL. If that's the main return for Tippett, like if it's Poitras plus a second round pick or some other type of asset, could maybe get behind that a little bit. But I don't know what his ceiling is. His ceiling is probably like
2C.
Maybe better than Christian Dvorak, like maybe slightly better than Jet Luchenko's ceiling. Like, yeah, 2C at best, maybe a good 3C. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. But yeah, it's I forget where I was trying to go before.
You and me both, bud.
I brought that up.
This team, man.
Yeah,
this
yeah.
team.
No, going back to the whole risk thing. Like, I don't want them to make a hockey trade just to make a hockey trade. But like, if you're trading from a position of strength, which is winger, to get a center or to get a young defenseman, if you also trade Risto, I think that's something the Flyers have to do eventually. And if it comes now, why not now? If it comes in the offseason, that's fine too. Because like last year, I feel like the Trevor Zegras stuff kind of died down, but everyone knew he needed a change of scenery. The Flyers may have been in the mix for him. So like he was kind of in the back of our minds. I don't know if someone out there is like that right now. I guess we haven't brought up Robert Thomas at all. Like, what would you trade? What's the best package you would move for Robert Thomas? Sabres are very much in on him right now. Detroit could be a fit for him as well. What would you think of Thomas?
I don't understand why the Sabres are trying to trade for Robert Thomas. That doesn't. They are like we just said, they're playing Josh Norris as their third line center. Like the 1-2 punch.
I mean, Ryan McLeod's their second line center. Like it's so if they can get Thomas, Thompson Thomas down the middle. Like, yeah, I could picture Robert Thomas in a Sabres uniform. Can't you?
Where's Dylan Cousins? Oh wait, Dylan Cousins is in Ottawa.
He's in Ottawa. He's in Ottawa.
I am. Oh man, we're getting through it today,
I mean,
folks.
Tage Thompson sometimes plays wing as well. Like if they could bring in Thomas and put Thomas and Thompson on the same line,
that'll be a nightmare as an announcer.
And Tuck at the triple T's line there for
Tuck's it to Thomas and Thomas passes to Thompson. Oh my God, poor JJ would have a field day with that.
Oh, it was quick sidebar. It was so refreshing having the NBC broadcast back for Monday's game after having 2 ESPN broadcasts, which if it was a different week, I would have spent 10 minutes just ranting about that. But we had the trade deadline here to talk about. So
Robert Thomas.
Robert Thomas. The Blues want like a similar package for like the Quinn Hughes package or the Mikko Rantanen package, which is probably asking a bit too much. And I've gone back and forth on
the Rantanen package. I think is more possible. Like just straight draft picks. That makes a little bit more sense. Oh wait, which Rantanen package?
I don't know. I'm assuming the one that didn't involve Marty Necas, the one that didn't involve.
So the Dallas.
It's probably the Stankoven and 2 first-round picks.
Yep.
So that would be like Chenko and 2 first-round picks. Stankoven was a roster player.
Stankoven was a second round pick, but Stankoven maybe like a Bobby Brink and 2 firsts, but that doesn't track with how Doug Armstrong seems to like to run his teams. So it'd probably be more like Noah Cates, or not even Noah.
No, I could see Noah Cates, like because Noah Cates could take over as like the 2C there and be like a good presence. Cates.
Would you rather give up first round draft picks, or would you rather give up players or prospects?
It's all contextual. It's all contextual. I think I'd rather give up first round picks. I think you know what? Selfishly, I'd rather give up first round picks, so I don't have to talk about 20 names and have the Flyers draft none of them every May.
God, our track record is so bad.
So I feel like a first round pick, like either maybe the better of the Flyers or Leafs ones next year. Give them Luchenko or Nesbitt, one of those guys, and like a Emil Andre or like a maybe a Jamie Drysdale could be an interesting there in St. Louis to add to their blue line. But I keep going back and forth on, is Robert Thomas like the guy you go get with that? Like, you're not completely emptying the cupboard there for that. You can go get Robert Thomas and then still have other pieces if like a real 1C, like a top tier 1C becomes available. Robert Thomas is a 1C. 81 points last year, 86 points the year before. Great passer, like great setup man, 60 assists each of the past 2 full seasons. He'd be great. He'd be great on 6 foot, 207 pounds, big enough in the middle there. He wouldn't excite fans, but he would definitely get the job done. I just don't know what the ask would be. And I feel like if he gets moved, we're going to say the Flyers should have beat the offer.
I think also there's 2 other things to consider. One, should the Flyers have beat the offer? Maybe, but when Yaroslav Askarov, the goalie, got moved, one of the big reasons he got traded is because the Nashville Predators fucking loved David Edstrom. They wanted that guy in the draft and then had the opportunity to get him. They're like, there's nothing, unless you're going to give us like Michkov or Bonk or some crazy, crazy valuable prospect. We're not interested because we just like these. We like this guy.
I forgot about Bonk. I think Bonk could be a start of a package for Robert Thomas. Bonk a first and Brink
Luchenko.
I don't know if the Flyers would trade Luchenko and Bonk.
That
would make sense though. That would make sense for the Blues. You get a center, you get a defenseman, you get a first round pick to kind of build your core around with Dvorsky, Snuggerud. Like, they have a decent young core.
I mean, maybe it's changed, but I think the last I saw, the reported ask was 3 first round pick equivalent value assets or something. The other thing to keep in mind here is Robert Thomas has an NMC, full no move clause. So he does have to waive it. He probably would. I mean, why would you want to stay in St. Louis through what's going to be a retool or a rebuild? But secondly, if he comes here, the Flyers do not have flexibility. Like, if all of a sudden Austin Matthews or Connor McDavid, because the Oilers should be running away with the Pacific Division, but they can't seem to like stop a puck. If one of those high-end elite star centers comes available, you can't trade Robert Thomas for that guy because he's got a no-move clause and probably won't want to waive again after he's just come here. So you take a little bit of a risk there that you're going to get this guy and then maybe he'll be good, but you're stuck with him because you can't move him for someone better.
Yeah, that is something there that you have to think about with the flexibility, because the Flyers do have these contracts locked in for the next few years. Thomas is $8.1 million through 2031, 2032 at the 2031. He's 26. Kind of fits with the timeline a little bit. But yeah, it comes down to what the Blues want. It comes down to whatever package the Blues want, really. You can't say, the Flyers should have got a bigger package, because like you said, you don't know what the other team wants, and that's the most important thing, is what the Blues are going to want back for him. And I don't think the Flyers are in a position where they should pony up for him. Like, the Sabres are, the Red Wings are. Like, other teams should be looking to add him. Like, the Flyers can wait for the offseason, see who else becomes available. Maybe do your favorite 2 words, the offer sheet, to some of these RFAs out there, rather than giving up some assets in season.
Yes, I am. The tweet when Elliot Friedman says the Flyers have offer sheeted Leo Carlsson is going to fuel me for the summer. That's going to be an amazing moment.
Yeah. Let me just look through the rest of the Athletics big board here to see if there's anyone worth talking about for the Flyers. No, not really. Because like they're not buying. Maybe they'll do like a hockey trade. No centers. Maybe they'll get like a bottom 6 center, but like Grundstrom has seemed fine there in that role. They have a few guys in the AHL they could bring up. It's just a matter of will Risto be traded, and for what, and will Briere make any other moves, really?
If Grundstrom is here through the end of the season because nobody was willing to pony up a 6th round pick, I don't care. Like, it's irrelevant. If he finishes out the contract and Briere didn't sell Carl Grundstrom for a late round pick, whatever, dude. I don't care. The big one is Risto.
Okay, before we end it here, if there is one player the Flyers could land at the deadline, who do you want it to be?
Connor McDavid. Or are we being reasonable?
Oh, reasonable.
Okay. The Flyers could get one player at the deadline.
All right, I have mine ready while you think.
You go ahead. I got to think about that.
I want Jesper Wallstedt. I want Jesper Wallstedt. I want a stud goalie to pair with Dan Vladar to kind of bridge the gap until Bjarnason or Zavragin are ready. He's 23, low cap hit. The Wild are motivated to move him. You trade Tippett, something else. You get back Wallstedt. Maybe you take Hartman's contract. You take a bad contract. You solve the goalie problem. You try to solve the goalie problem.
Yeah. I'm going to go a little spicier because the LA Kings look mid as hell and say one of Brant Clark or Quentin Byfield.
I am interested to see what the Kings do at the deadline now because they are reeling now. They just fired their coach. They're outside of the playoffs, I believe. Like
Fiala's done for the season.
Fiala's done for the season. That would be spicy. And Briere doesn't have a history with their GM now, but their GM.
Oh no, Provorov was earlier.
Stan Bowman's there now, right? Is that
no? It's Hollande. It's Ken Hollande.
Oh, Ken Hollande. Yeah. So yeah. So yeah. He could make some crazy moves there. Yeah. I would love to see the Flyers just make a move out of nowhere for like a big name.
And that's what they have done in the past. Like we have seen when the Flyers make trades, we don't know what's happening until like the Friedman tweet hits 10 minutes before the trade announcement. They are so good at keeping things under wraps. I think the only one that was not a surprise was Scott Laughton, but that's the Toronto Maple Leafs. So everybody in that media sphere just it's like everybody knows. So of course that's going to happen. But Joel Farabee and Morgan Frost, that happened mid-game and nobody saw it coming. Trevor Zegras, we just woke up one day and boom, there's the tweet hearing Zegras to Philly. Sean Walker, I think we knew was going to get traded, but we didn't know where. And then all of a sudden the Avs came in out of nowhere. Mm-hmm. Provorov happened. Like, it's Sanheim almost happened out of nowhere. They are really
came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Kuzmenko came out of nowhere last year for the 3rd round pick from LA. Like if the Flyers are trading with a team that isn't covered like the Leafs are or like a Canadian team is, there'll probably be very, very few whispers.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Keep it locked here at Broad Street Hockey on YouTube. We will be going live throughout the week here as things break to discuss different options. Maybe we'll have some guests on from other teams if we get some trades there as well. So keep an eye out for that. Got the Utah Mammoth coming to town on Thursday night. Then the Flyers are going to Pittsburgh on Saturday and then back at home for the Rangers on Monday. Let's just do the Utah game, Joe. How you feeling about the Utah game?
5-3 Flyers.
5-3 Flyers. Utah, you got Logan Cooley back. They're rolling right now. I'm going to go a 4-3 overtime loss to Utah.
Oh, no. They're getting their first 4-game win streak of the season. I can feel it.
I hope so. I hope so. They get a winning streak going. Dan Vladar is feeling good. He's saying, we don't need everybody, just the real ones. Let's get the real ones out there for Dan Vladar.
That's what I'm saying. It's this, like, the Flyers have... TK is like, I want to go to the playoffs. I want to go to the playoffs. This is the last game before the trade deadline. Like, if you're ever going to show your GM that you've got it, this is the one. So I expect the Flyers to come out flying that day.
All right. Once again, thanks to FanDuel for sponsoring the show. Make sure you check out BroadStreetHockey.com, like and subscribe, comment, subscribe, all the good stuff on YouTube. And until next time, thanks for listening.
Go Flyers.